Yeah. Here's the intake manifold, and so this side here, where the you see I made this piece of aluminum to fit in here, and it's just slightly taller than the plastic, so that when you bolt it together, it's making a solid connection. But now, over on this side, this one has disintegrated now, and only in a few thousand miles. So you see here, the whole back of it came apart, and this plastic here, it just crumbles away. It's just unbelievable crap that they're trying to sell us. So anyway, I'm going to dig out this and then form another aluminum strip to go in there. And right there is the piece of aluminum that I'm going to get the material from. So now we are going to remove this, and see how easily that breaks away? It just comes away. It's just all of this is ready to just fall apart. I mean, you know, who builds crap like this? Bring back an aluminum manifold, please. Okay, so anyway, this is what I'm going to do. You don't need to watch the entire process. I'll bring you back when I start making the aluminum. We were looking at the intake manifold gasket, and I noticed the left side one, the rear water jacket seal was sitting right about like this, so we wouldn't have been able to get a bolt down the hole with interference. And then the gasket itself was in question whether it would seal or not. So what we did was the front of the gasket fit okay, so the pin is here, the locating pin, but the locating pin back here, we eliminated that, and then I cut about 1/8 or so an inch out of the middle of the gasket, and now the rear water jacket lines up and will seal the hole, hopefully. But once again, you know, there is a problem with these rear seals that Ford in there, just genius. Put one bolt here, and then all the way over here is the other bolt, when there really should be another bolt on the other side between the water jacket and the intake port. I mean, how stupid is that? So anyway, you know, if it was an aluminum manifold, it would be okay, but this is a plastic manifold, so it's just prone to not sitting flat. And when things don't sit flat, they, because it's a bolt here and a bolt here, they will tend to lift up in the center, which creates a leak here, and here, and here, and here. And that's just so stupid. Anyway, so what I did is I cut 1/8 of an inch out of this, and then I took a soldering gun and a zip tie and plaster welded them together, sanded it back down flat, and we're good to go. All right, so let us continue on putting things together. But yeah, you shouldn't have to re-engineer things. And so the intake port is a little bit off, but the water port is on. And to me, that's more important. And also you need to have that hole there lined up. So anyway, alrighty. Yeah, see, this side here is okay. You can just see the aluminum down there. Hopefully what won't happen here is a lot of times over time with heat, this rear plastic where the O-ring goes through it breaks and turns into a leak. There's just no winning. What kind of a dummy would design engines like this? I mean, come on, really? Okay. All right, I am once again doing a repair to the infamous 5.4 liter Ford intake manifold over on the left side where the thermostat and radiator hose connect. And as you can see, there is some cracking going on down below there. Let me see if I can get a little friendlier light. So there's some cracking going on, and it looks like this garbage plastic might even have like wood fibers in it or something. So anyway, I have taken a chisel and dug out that plastic ring around the perimeter that retains the O-ring that goes in there. So here is what I'm doing. I am going to fill this whole void here with right stuff. Then I'm going to place this down. And then I'm going to fill this perimeter with right stuff. And I'm going to place this down. And then I'm going to get the clamps and I'm going to clamp this down with some plastic over it and a flat of steel so that it will be able to seal up, let the right stuff harden up and seal everything for a couple of days. But so anyway, this ought to be a good fix for the thing. It's just amazing that it's just such garbage. Who would ever make something, an intake manifold exposed to heat and hot liquid under pressure? Who would ever build something that is in that environment out of plastic? I mean, I thought Ford was known for it's a better idea. So anyway, that is that. I'm going to get my right stuff here, and I'm going to pull off the lid, and then I'm going to splooge right stuff all through here, make sure that it is worked well into the corner edge. And if you look right down here, you can see that there's a friggin' little hole. It's not a hole that goes through, but it is a void in the casting. So we're going to fill that with the right stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It just is so upsetting sometimes when you expect something and you get less. Okay, so I'm sure that this is enough that it will compress and fill everywhere. Okay, so this here is a nice tough piece of 1/8" aluminum. It's a marine grade aluminum. Okay, So there we go. We are pressing it down. We're getting some splooge. And I think I would like to see more splooge over on this side. Let me get something to pry that up. Here's a screwdriver. There we go. Here's my little screwdriver. And let us just fill this corner up a little more. And of course, it's the corner that had the void in it. Okay, that should give me enough splooge. Okay, let's try this again. Where's my screwdriver? Trying to keep the goop on my hands to a minimum. Okay, we're getting splooge out of there now. Good. All right. Now, get my screwdriver off on an old box. Okay. Now, phase 2. Let's get some more ookie over here. There might already be just about enough in there. Okay, that is enough. So let me press the other piece in there. And we should be good to go. Okay, so there you go. We have a seal. And yeah, totally happy with that. Totally happy. All right. Yes, use gloves when you're using this stuff. It can be a mess. Not worried about wiping it on the cardboard. It'll be dry in the morning. Okay. It. Okay, now all I have to do is get a block of wood and a couple of clamps. Okay, hang on, just about there. Here's my block of wood one. We are finished with that little restoration project. So the plastic will just peel off from the right stuff in the morning, or maybe tomorrow afternoon. I'll just leave it set up for 24 hours. That's it for tonight. Got this thing done. Here's the previous fix, and this one is holding up just fine. There's no reason to do anything on this side. In the Ford 5.4 intake manifold, where there's a ring gasket grommet that goes around that, and then this side here always breaks out. Good design, fellas. Really appreciate that. But I think I can do something for that. So we are going to attempt a fix on this, but we got to get it out first, and it's already kind of in cruddy shape. I mean, it's just kind of a powder, just a very weakened state. Okay, kids, we have our piece of aluminum, and so we're going to start trying to make our adapter piece. All right, you guys, so here's what I've done. There was an inner ring, and then there's a gasket O-ring that goes there. You see how it is on that side, but this side here, you can clearly see how the inner ring was deteriorating. In fact, all the stuff around it, see, there's a piece of it here, and you see that brown on there, and that's all plastic that is deteriorating. Just, it doesn't even snap, it just kind of like goes apart. So here is my fix for it. 1/8 inch thick, 1/4 inch tall piece of aluminum cut to fit the opening. So I am going to embed this in some the right stuff. Okay, and then we make a circle around each screw hole. Make sure that everything is sealed. Okay, let us see how our repair is here. And screw Mr. Clamp. And peel off. Look at that. Comes right off. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so there you see a nice and flush surface. So we're going to let that continue hardening up in there. See here, this is the other side, and this side sealed up just fine. This aluminum here is just a little thicker than the plastic. This one here is pretty well flush to the plastic, but so this will go on like that, and that, and then if you look down in there, you can see that the aluminum ring I made on the inside is pretty close to the same as the housing. See over here, that is perfectly flush there. So this I'm going to call a very, very good fix. And then we put a bead of great stuff over it, or right stuff, and let it harden up 90 minutes, and then clamp the two together, and we have got a forever seal. And so then the only weak part is that stupid gasket underneath, where there's only 2 bolts that hold it. This one here and this one here. And as I say, the 2 bolts are, see, it's 5 inches apart. How stupid is that? So you have this side here torqued down and this side here torqued down. So these 2 points are tight, but the middle here has a propensity to, since these are tight, it will go up. and lift, and that is why you get the leaks here. So remember, I have my little fix for this side, which is you have a all thread here, then you have a bolt and a bar that comes across and pushes down here, and that way you get more pressure over on the other side. This is the right side front of the intake manifold, and that is a stainless steel piece that I made to fit over the coolant crossover tube to hold it down and press on the manifold. And this side here is not as bad because it has 2 bolts on it, but you're still 5 inches away from the next bolt. How stupid is that? Very stupid. But fortunately, because you have 2 bolts here, this side seals more reliably. Okay, kids, so I have finished working on the intake manifold. You can see up inside here the great stuff. This stuff here, when it gets dried, I will scrape out. It doesn't need to be there. And down here on this one here, same thing. We'll just scrape and clean it out. You can see I've got the great stuff. Was on both surfaces and dried for 90 minutes and then clamshelled together. So we got 1, 2, 3 screws on each of these. And that should hold the intake manifold together. You see down inside of there we have our metal aluminum plate. So we have an aluminum plate on top of the plastic, and then this will bolt down onto the gasket on the aluminum head so it's fully supported. The other thing I have to do is see how that surface there is kind of convexed or concaved. Anyway, gonna get some JB weld and flatten that out tomorrow. And I think this side here might need the same treatment, and the back of the manifold will need the same treatment again. This worked out really well. These coolant adapters on the back of the heads, they work on all the modulars, or they'll work on any engine with a 1 1/4 inch knockout plug that is accessible on the back of the head. But they definitely do help cool the engine. And everything is coming along very, very nicely. So hopefully there will be no more freak engine failures like a cracked oil sump tube or a broken exhaust valve. Other people have these engines that last for years and years, and I should too. Alright kids, this is the last piece in stopping water leaks in your 5.4, 4.6, 6.8 Triton engine manifold. And we have a piece of all thread that goes down into the intake manifold. Put some generous NICs on it. And we have a bolt here that goes, the nut goes down to the 18 pounds torque. And we have a nut under here. At about the same height as the top of this casting here. And then we tighten down this bolt here. until it is flat on that nut and across the coolant housing. That way we have the torque from the nut here and the downward force over the housing, and that is how we get a seal in between the 5-inch space between the bolts. See, there's that bolt, and way back here is the other one. Okay, so we've got that 5-inch ridiculous space. Then we have our coolant line comes up from the manifold to a T. And then I have a pressure gauge here that I can monitor how much pressure is in the system. And generally it is at about 8 pounds when it's warmed up. We're at about 3 pounds right now. Back here, way in the back, you can see where the two coolant adapters come together to a T, and they come up to this T. And so we have the coolant comes up over to the heater core, back from the heater core and around to this T here, where it meets with the coolant coming up from the back of the heads with those NMR coolant adapters, and then it goes around over there and hooks into the tube that comes up the valley into the back of. There you go. That is everything that I know about getting these intake manifolds to seal. The other thing I did was I had the 2 slugs of aluminum that I fitted to go very tight to the rear coolant openings in the intake manifold gasket, and those are sealed in with white stuff. They will not drop down into the head because they are on the rim, all around the rim of the coolant passage, sealed on, and then also glued to the top side of the intake manifold, so that when the intake manifold is bolted down, they glue together and they will stay in place. So this engine is running just beautifully. We are coming up to 4 pounds pressure now. It'll keep getting warmer. This is already hot. The metal is hotter than what you want to touch. It seems that the freeze plugs are sealing up, not getting any leakage under them anymore. Hopefully, barring another broken exhaust valve or a cracked oil sump pickup tube to destroy the engine, hopefully this engine will run for a long, long time without any strange, unusual problems. All right. This is the previous set of heads where I made slugs to weld shut the rear coolant passages, and you can see I followed them smooth. There's no reason to have the coolant passages on the backs of the heads. This is the right side. So I welded and sealed them up, and they will never again leak. Unfortunately, The number 5 engine exhaust valve destroyed the engine. And these are the aluminum pieces I made to repair the left side of the intake manifold under the thermostat. And hopefully this will work.